As promised, this year we will explore Kerala's entrepreneurial landscape in more detail. Our next session will see more successful entrepreneurs from our very own state. Our session chair is Mr. P.H. Kurian. Mr. P.H. Kurian, IAS, is currently the Principal Secretary of the Industry and Commerce and Information Technology, Government of Kerala. Mr. Kurian cleared civil service examination and joined IAS in the year 1986 while pursuing a PhD in organic chemistry after completing his post-graduation. Over the course of his illustrious civil service career, Mr. Kurian has served in various capacities and positions. In January 2009, he joined as Controller General of Patents, Design and Trademarks under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, the first IAS officer to hold that post. He successfully reformed the organization through procedural revamp and e-governance, which led him being nicknamed as Bullet Kurian by the intellectual property community for speedy reforms and fast decision-making. Mr. Kurian came back to Kerala, where he was posted as Principal Secretary, Information Technology in March 2012. In October 2013, Mr. Kurian took over as the Principal Secretary, Industry and Commerce and IT, the position which he continues to hold. I request Mr. Kurian to please join us on stage. Next, I'd like to introduce our panelist, Mr. Nandakumar. Mr. Nandakumar is the founder, president, and CEO of Suntech Business Solutions. He has been active in the software realm for over 26 years as a technology evangelist for customer-centric software platforms and solutions, especially for transaction-intensive vertical. Relationship-based pricing, a concept pioneered by him, has been endorsed by leading industry analysts and thought leaders as a principal enabler for balanced pricing dynamics in the agile world. Under his leadership, Suntech has grown to a 750-plus employee company with its geographical footprint spanning across 4 continents. He has also led Suntech to win several prestigious global awards, including the Celent Model Bank Red Herring Global 100, Deloitte Technology Fast India 50, and Deloitte Technology Fast Asia Pacific 500, and to secure its position among the top contenders in the operational excellence category at Billing and OSS World. He holds a master's degrees in management from London Business School. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Nandakumar to stage. Our second panelist for today is Mr. Abdul Aziz from Skyline Builder. Mr. Abdul Aziz co-founded Skyline Builders in 1989. He steered the organization as CEO through the thick and thin of the real estate industry in Kerala and made it into the largest home builder in Kerala over the years. He became the sole stalwart of the company after another director had retired and took complete reign in his hands in 2006. He has been a long-serving National Executive Committee member of CREDAI, the National Association of Professional Builders, in various capacities. He was a chairman of CREDAI Kerala from 2009 to 2013. Skyline Builders has a customer following of over 20,000 Malayalis from 49 countries who are proud owners of 5,800 Skyline homes in 8 cities across the state. Today, Skyline Builders is credited with 126 projects in 8 cities across Kerala and has more than 1 crore square feet of built-up area. Last year, Mr. Abdul Aziz received the Legend Award for Excellence in Infrastructure Industry from the World Malayali Council. Mr. Aziz did his post-graduation in Business Administration at Cochin University of Science and Technology. I welcome Mr. Aziz to join us on stage. Over to our session chair.
Good afternoon, friends. This looks like a post-lunch session, but we are making it very live. And I'm supposed to have 4 Kerala-grown entrepreneurs, but unfortunately there are only 2 now, and you got a good introduction from them. We will start off straight away because you are so much of late, maybe around an hour or so, 40, 50 minutes late it was. Suppose, and I have to leave also this place for another function. Well, these two established people would be able to actually give their experience, how they have grown in Kerala. Morning you had three big stalwarts speaking about their experience. But this time, I would just say, take 5-10 minutes saying that how in Kerala, as a person who is, who held positions which helped entrepreneurs or destroyed entrepreneurs, both I can say. I started with my industry-related work, leave about the collectorship. After that, I was the labor commissioner, then I was KFC MD, Finance Corporation MD, then Director Industries, KSIDC MD, Secretary Industries, IT Secretary. All this was some way or the other related to the development of enterprise in Kerala. And my service period of this 15 years, I see a lot of tremendous, a lot of changes happening in this case, especially when I look from my eyes as a labor commissioner, where I see a lot of people try to destroy enterprises. I mean, not willingly or something, but the type of socio-economic situations or political situations of those era were such that a lot of enterprises got destroyed. I can count numbers and numbers where jobs got lost, people, entrepreneurs, lot of money and all that. Thereafter, maybe the beginning of this century, I mean, they have not automatically happened. This has happened post the liberalization of 90s. We got opportunities. Kerala started growing. Kerala's growth rate has not been good till the 80s. 80s onwards, Kerala has been growing. So in a growing economy, always there is chance for entrepreneurs to come, because when money flows and transaction happens, there always gets an opportunity of business. So a stagnating economy, entrepreneurs could not flourish in the 70s or 60s. That was the type of socio-political ethos of those days were also like that. So post-90s, by around middle of 80s, Kerala started growing. Really, Kerala economy started growing. That offered opportunity. Coupled with the economic reforms of 91, where a lot of licensing and other things were taken, still a lot of them are there, but that gave a great boost. Then one more thing I can say from the beginning, as a director of industries, I was seeing the type of schemes which were there in the 60s and 70s to help entrepreneurs. One of them are called margin money scheme. That means you have taken people who don't have any money at all. You give a margin money and then sort of push them as an entrepreneur. Because people didn't have money. There are very few people with investable money with them. All those scenarios changed, with the result that we now have done away with the margin money scheme. I have thousands of people in Kerala who has enough money, who has a willingness to invest. That by the turn of the century. So we are in a position now to redefine the economic growth of Kerala through, this is my firmly held belief, because I held this job. So we got again opportunities in 2005 or something, as IT secretary. We started what is called the TBIC in the Techno Park, which was a very courageous act of mine, because Government of India, one Dr. Mittal came, and he was establishing technology business centers in IITs and those important universities. And they said it's growing very slow there. They said the Techno Park is a very good ecosystem where the young engineers or maybe science graduates or mathematics graduates or somebody would come and start new enterprise. To be very frank with you, I was not believing in that it will happen so fast. So I said, in any case, they said, you start a society in Techno Park, a society registered, then Government of India will offer you 2.5 crores. You give some space, you give some support to buy computers or something like that. I really agreed, and in a week we formed a society. Mind you, that is without any government order. That is one of the, I believe that in my service, I have done such a great thing, is without bringing into the government department, finance and all that, asking for this, I took a decision at that time that we will register the society without government knowing about it. And that was what happened in 2005, 2006 onwards. And 6-7 times I left IT thing there, and then I went to Government of India. When I came back, I think these are stories known to all of us. I have spoken this many times, but those who are not heard me on this thing I'm saying. When I came back in 2012, in the 6 years, I was surprised to see that around 190 companies got incubated. There were 160 of them were live and growing, which is unparalleled. The Chennai IIT and Mumbai IIT, which are TBICs, they have created 30 companies. So some of the companies were much bigger than the companies here. But in terms of numbers, that really opened my eyes. And then I was not a great believer in 2005 when we started, but 2012 when I saw that youngsters in Kerala are ready to do this change. And that was a great eye-opener. And from there, we, last almost 2 years, I had a great, sort of collaboration with this Sanjay Vijayakumar, who must be around somewhere here, I don't know, maybe in some section. The Startup Village started. That was a great booster for my thinking. Then the CM got influenced by that. I think the entire minister, the finance minister, everybody got enthused in last Emerging Kerala Day. And also setting about the technology innovation multi-TBIC in Cochin, in Kalamassery, where the Startup Village now exists. In Startup Village now, that place, what is called Startup Village is one of the TBICs. There is a biotechnology TBIC there. Part of that building is now what Startup Village you are seeing. Now Startup Village go to another place and that become a big biotechnology TBIC. That is now managed by the Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology in Trivandrum. So that will grow. Then we plan to have in electronics, in high-tech agriculture, nanotechnology, in big data, data analytics, so many fields we have in mind to have around 10 to 12 TBICs in that location with a very good common infrastructure. With with the announced thing is a 1 GB or 1 GB free connectivity, wireless connectivity for all those. We expect to have around 3,000-4,000 youngsters sitting there and creating their companies. So that's the thing which in 3 years we need to come. So this strong belief I got by this change, the great enthusiasm shown by the TBIC and its success, and the Startup Village which has started. So all has an impression what the newspaper is all, this is high-tech only. It's not high-tech alone. So we took it, broadened that thing, and we created a very detailed cabinet note in which this 1% budget earmarking for entrepreneurship related activity was a very historic decision. So a lot of groundwork has happened on that thing and we want to move. But as it happens in government, things doesn't move the way you plan exactly you would like to have. It has its hurdles, it has its thing. Like morning in my speech, I was telling there are a lot of pinpricks comes in between and then one has to hurdle. And that is, in that way, let us say, it's like an entrepreneur story. Entrepreneurs also have hurdles and they break. Successful entrepreneurs who have broken those hurdles and reached that goal. So similarly in government or a governmental work of a bureaucrat also, this type of thing happens and you break one by one and go. So I only want to say this as an introduction that strongly, I think a lot of people who have almost all who have gathered here believes that this is possible. That actually prompted me to say the same thing which at the end of my morning speech of what Jose Dominic said in 2004 when we started this tie. I was there in that function when we first formed the tie, and there he was saying, and those are things which actually, a few sentences, few words which once they said, I do still remember that thing because these are words which actually change minds. And like today, this Mr. Rao, Ashok Rao was saying, certain words which actually change minds. So that type of change which is happening, which started very in a subtle fashion in early 2000s, now after a decade or so, it's now taking shape. This is the firm belief. I think all of you have that belief. If we have that belief, let's go ahead. Now, let's hear these two gentlemen. This is what I said lead to this gentleman. First, I'll hand over this mic to Nandakumar. He was briefly introduced here. He's one technology company in Kerala, the biggest technology company, I would say, in the IT space, which has come up in 15 years of time or so?
22 years.
22 years, that's okay. 22 years took a long time. I mean, of course, he was there. You just grabbed the opportunity just even reform. So
It's 1990.
1990, so 1 year after there was reform. But in 20 years, he grew now 750 people, must be millions of dollars of turnover. It's a very successful technology company that we have, works in many countries, provides services from his products to so many countries. So that's a great opportunity now to hear him, Mr. Nandakumar.
Thank you. I got the mic here. First of all, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Just a small correction on my bio. My MBA is not from London School of Business. It's from Kerala itself. Okay, there is a correction to that. So only, of course, I did an executive program in London School of Business. That's all it is. Otherwise, let me try to make it very short. Maybe I can answer questions later. My journey started quite a while ago when I was in college itself. I was, of course, entrepreneurship was in my blood. I come from a family where my father was a businessman. Of course, it also taught me a lot of lessons because how you can lose a business too. So that is, my starting point was very good. From that point of view, what not to do was very clear in my mind. But the passion was very strong. So even while I was studying, I was always wanting to do something of my own. So, but I did my master's in physics. That's where I came from. So I was a true believer of physics. So that was in my blood. I wanted to become a space scientist. Went to ISRO, but I didn't get the admission there, to be very frank, in Arivatam University campus. Then that prompted me to go to the physics itself. To fast forward, I got my job immediately after my MSc in HCL, just about 5 years, in 1985. And then almost 8 months, and then I got into Keltron, that is ER&DC. My whole professional career from an employee point of view was completely in Keltron for exactly 5 years in ER&DC. And so the urge was always there. But one thing which the Kerala government did triggered my opportunity, which is the Technopark. When Technopark was formed, Kerala government came up with a scheme where you could take people who have completed 5 years in Keltron could take 5 years leave to start a venture in Technopark. So I took that opportunity because the urge was always there. But then during my MBA, I was also doing parallel studies in MBA at that time. There was one statement in accounting which actually challenged me, which says that it is money what brings in money. And it starts an accounting statement. I said, it can't be true all the time. So can you start with something with zero from a money point of view and create value out of it and then start something of your own? So that's how the idea came in, because I didn't have money to invest, to be very frank. But one thing which I really learned in Keltron was the ability to challenge the norm in terms of technology. Any extremely challenging technology we could solve at that point of time. Some of the things which you have done was quite amazing even in today's terms of technology, to be very frank. So one thing is that you really build a lot of confidence and capability. Purely technical, you don't have anything, you don't know anything about business. We don't know, of course, we see things are happening, no background of it. So the philosophy was, I want to start a business from zero capital. So looking for an opportunity. Again, in entrepreneurship, one important thing is also, you should also be lucky to get some opportunity. But I need to rephrase that. When you say when you are to be lucky, that means you should also be lucky to identify the opportunity. I'll put it that way. So it's a little bit of that. This is another company who got a project to build a billing system for Indian telecom. Weren't having a specific competency, and they were looking for people to help them. So I got the opportunity to take that project as a subcontract. So guess what? Since they already have the contract, it's in those days more than 40 to 50 lakhs worth of order, of which software piece was just about 1 lakh. But without this being done, the whole business is at stake. So fortunately, it is actually, I can name the company as Transmatic Systems, which is right in Trivandrum. Mr. Naran was here today morning. And they gave that as a subcontract to me. So the point was, this was only about 75 to 1 lakh rupees. So if you were to employ someone, the day one itself, you are in negative cash flow. So it mandated me that it can only be done by yourself, because my salary in Keltron at that time was about 60,000 rupees annual. So if I come out, if I do it in 75, this is a 6 months job. If I can complete that, I'm making more money than when I'm in the double the money that I'm taking, and there's no risk. If I don't do it, I can go back. But this project had a very interesting condition attached to it. He said if you do a good development, you get the rest of the orders in Kerala, which is about another 10 more circles. So it was a great opportunity, to be very frank, and the only problem was this was a competitive development. They are given this contract to 2 companies, and so whoever develops a better system will get the rest of the order. The other company, being I can name them, it was Wipro. So it was not an easy task, but this here comes the belief in you. So I thought we should just take it. Anyway, fast forward, we won the competition, so this became the country standard. So what it means 330 SSAs in the country, the whole world. That is the starting point. So which gives a phenomenal opportunity from zero capital in a matter of 3 years. We won the entire Indian market for telecom billing. Because there was no BSNL other than, only DOT existed at that time. In 1995 is when private sector came in. So it proved 2 points. One is that if you really go after something, and if you really believe in it, even the most difficult thing which you think is possible. Nothing is impossible, you can put it that way. And you really need to take it with a passion, because there are a lot of things which we did. Personally, I wrote the whole software myself. There was nobody else to do it otherwise. And the way in which you would otherwise do, if I do the same function, I got more than 180 people doing the same job. But that's a different scale. It's the same software. So just to give you an idea, that is how I started off. But in 1985, that's when the whole, it became standardized and it became the cash cow. It was bringing in a lot of business for us. So then the question was, what will you do next? So it talks about next orbit growth. So the only option for me, if I had to continue in that space, was to go international. So go to the global market. But I never traveled outside. I don't know the entire world. I didn't have any international experience. And telecom is a space which is, especially this space is operated by the giants like the Lucent and the Notels and the Nokias of the world, multi-billion-dollar companies. So how do you compete against them? Of course, the success in India helped me to challenge even that. So here comes the other part of, today somebody talked about it, you being stupid. So my stupidity told me that you can even beat them. So went out for the international market, no background. I got the first opportunity in 95 from a Malaysian company who started a network, but they didn't have a billing system. So guess what? They were draining revenue every day. So I offered them to give them a first aid in 30 days, which I did. So which subsequently gave us an order worth close to about $500,000 on those days. So that was first success. But again, I must say that that success wasn't that great, because when I took it to the international market, especially European market, I was competing directly with IBM. Nobody else had IBM with software from New Zealand Telecom, because my partner was Unisys. 4 years, almost about 30 bids, no success. In 98, we changed the game. We went to the people saying that, look, whatever is need to be done, we will completely do it for you first, and then only. We changed the game in a very disciplined manner. I don't want to get into details. Anyway, we won our first customer in 98 in Netherlands, replacing one of the largest billing vendor at that time, which is Bell Sigma. So just to give you a certain way, this is how we moved on. And we got the first venture funding in 2000 by Schroeder Ventures, and those days something like more than $4 to $5 million. And interestingly, at that time, we even got a buyout option from somebody like Warburg Pincus for a handsome money. But again, followed the passion. One thing I wanted to highlight, I'll stop here. We went on from there, went to the banking space, and we today operate in almost about 52. At least we have customers in 52 countries. 2 things driven me. One key point was I really wanted to do that from Kerala. I had option in fact, when in 2000, when I approached my VCs, at least basically 5 people put interest in investing in me. 3 of them made it is mandatory to move out of Kerala, and at least in Bangalore, if not in Silicon Valley. That was a mandatory requirement to do the funding. So, just to say that, but the point was very simple. If you do anything closer to that, of course, one of the stupidity aspect was also to be in the enterprise software space, which is competing with the big giants. You're still doing that in that space. But the attractiveness of that market is a multi-billion-dollar market. So if you can scale, if you can beat them, the equation is completely different. And it is a product business, completely straight out of software services. And it is, I mean, the journey still continues. I mean, by no means we are successful on international standard, but of course, in a relative terms, maybe you will find successful. I mean, I leave there, I'll leave the question subsequently. Thank you.
You can start.
Yeah, thank you. I think I can stand and talk,
Yeah,
otherwise I
please,
might
please.
go sleep. Okay. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. You all know that I've been last 4-5 years, 4 hours, and generally today in India, when you talk about entrepreneurship, you talk about only IT and ITS. That's the in thing today. But I'm coming for a totally different scenario. My field is rock solid. It is brick and mortar. And my product is just ordinary, nothing great, and I'm not an innovator like what these people, and I've been talking about this morning we've seen. You've seen the 10, 20 people talking about innovation. So I just want to talk about the product, just ordinary products. So that's what I tell you that from there, yes, I did something so that I could make an organization of this kind. And my experience, and if you talk about my lessons, what I learned for the last 35 years is that doing business, nothing but common sense. That's what I feel so. And for the sake of our new entrepreneurs, I would say that I don't think you need to be a genius to be a good businessman. You need not hold IQ of 9, 8 or 9. That is, PhD is here, and we are ordinary mortals and ordinary Aam Aadmi people. I don't think we have 4 or 5. That's more than enough to be a good businessman, I would say that. Because you can just see the history, go the history like, Dhirubhai Ambani, you take, he was a high school dropout. Bill Gates, you go back to 1920s and 30s, you have Carnegie is there, there is the steel man, the US steel giant was there. You go back again to Rockefeller, they are ordinary people, the oil man who made billions and billions, is one of the richest man in the history today. And of course, the JP Morgan. I just happened to go through a documentary on the men who built America. I think that they should go to that. And what I just want to tell you that it's all ordinary people, and I don't think you need to be very intelligent, and I don't think ingenuity not be there in your business. Always look forward to look to innovation all the time, and technology also. I don't think so. In our case, because as I said earlier, my product is just there. It has been there. Time immemorial it is there. The day the God created Adam and Eve, yes, we had the housing was there. So that was the product I've been doing, and I've been trying to construct and make a living out of that also. Then my story. My story is a small story. It's nothing great. It's a very short story, but unfortunately or fortunately, it took 35 years to write the story. I'm extremely sorry if I am not exciting you, but a very, very ordinary story. And what has happened is like, when we got out of the college in 78, we armed with a certificate of a 3-letter certificate, MBA. It was a great thing. We thought, yes, you can get a wonderful job, maybe a living you can make in Kerala. But unfortunately, we looked around, nothing was available. No large corporation was not there, job was not available. So only way was that those days, you got to get out of Kerala and find a job. So what I did maybe in January 26, 79, I took a train to Bombay for a job. And before that, I got the first job is known. What is my first job? I got married. I was an husband without having a job. Just imagine, that's what I did first. I got married, then I took my train to Bombay. Yes, I worked there for around 18 months. I worked. Of course, I do come from a business family. I'm a third generation, maybe a fourth generation businessman. But that I've never been to my family business, not even 1 minute. That's what I'm going to tell you. The Anguman, the newcomers, I want to tell you that don't worry about, you don't have a pedigree, nothing to worry about it. You can be a good businessman. You don't have the legacy of a family background. No, I don't think so. You need to have it, because I never had that one. Though I had that family background was there, could I have gone to family? I said, no, I'm not going to join. Father said, fine, you do whatever you want. Okay. Then worked around 18 months, and then I thought, yes, I started, the dream job was there, because, those days in the college, what you teach you was, okay, you got a good job in your MBA, there was MBA, go to Bombay or some other places, you have an air-conditioned office, yes, swirling chairs, revolving chairs, you have it, and wonderful facility. Yes, I did get that And I had wonderful office. That to just imagine 79 in Bombay, a central air conditioned office. You had the revolving chair. Yes, all the perks were you were traveling first class. Yes, but then I thought, no, that is not enough. I think I didn't want. I thought, no, maybe something I should do something different, because I thought that point of time I realized that yes, be in the business, be in the corporate world, you could, those days I'm talking not today, today is totally different. Those days I thought that, yeah, I can make a big, good living, that's all. But you want to help your sister, during, maybe you want to give a gift to my sister for a wedding, 50,000 rupees, you go on to give to her a gift. Now, I knew that's not possible. Maybe it'll take another 5 years for my savings to make this kind of money. So I thought you want to help others. Only way is that come out of it and start your own business. That's what I got out of my profession. In 1980, came back to Calicut, started my own business. Then, of course, we used to meet all my old colleagues and friends. We used to meet. Then we decided. We met one or two my close friends was one, Philip and Srikanth was there, and we met and we decided yes, we should do something together. So we started in 1980. We started a company by name Skyline Systems and Services. Yes, three musketeers, and people and friends fondly used to call us Amar Akbar Anthony. So that was a nickname. And what has happened is, yes, we started a trading business because we thought those days impossible. We just couldn't think of starting an industry in Kerala because militant those days perception was that industry, labor is not good for Kerala. Number one. Number two, that the entire raw material had to come from outside because you don't have industries here. So whatever you want to make industry, any product you want to make it, the raw material had to come from outside. Then where the market? Market again is back outside Kerala. So there's no meaning you start industry back in Kerala here. There's you're not competitive. It's not competitive to have industry here. Unless you go to Coimbatore, maybe Mysore, Chennai, or some other places. So, of course, in Kerala, you all know that we didn't want to leave this place. We thought, no, if at all we'll make it here. So then what the next option was to get into trading. So we started trading. Then we didn't have money. So they say, see, if you want to get into trading, fine, you have to have a lot of money. We didn't have money. So we pulled in 5,000 rupees each with 15,000 rupees capital. We started a company named Skyline Systems and Services. Then what? Then what is the strength? Strength was education and technical knowledge. That's what we had. So we couldn't start another business where, people can come and compete with us. Like there was still that point of time also gold business was there. Maybe we could have entered into textile business. But that needed a whole lot of money. We didn't have that kind of money, so we set out a question. Not only that, we knew that today we have this textile business. Maybe tomorrow a guy with a deep pocket can come and compete with you. Next day we can start a textile business. You'll be out of business. So we decided, no, our strength is technical. Our knowledge is there. So we should do something which is technically oriented, and no ordinary people should be able to come and compete with us. That's why we started that was the basic, we had philosophy was the policy of taking decision that whatever we do, it should be a technically oriented business. A product should be able to, no ordinary guys should be able to compete with us. Yes, then we started, we took Phyllis Welding Division. No, it is one of the costliest product that point of time. So that Kerala, that point of all the industry, what we had was, all the government sponsored industry, like you have the FSCD, you have the TCC, all those, they always, every time, always they went in for a cheap product. They never bothered for quality, they wanted the cheapest thing we couldn't sell. Except when CRL came, Cochin Refinery, yes, there are the people that money, the oil money was there. So they said, yeah, we'll buy your product. So that way they're one of the biggest customers for Phyllis Welding product. From there we took off. Yes, we then started, taking new product. We introduced, the sun control film, polyester film. Okay. And we took a lot of products. It's one product after product we started adding to our business line. Then by the end of 80, 85, 88, we had almost 20 good products were there. The unfortunate part was that the market was so bad, money was not there in Kerala. There's not spending power was not there in Kerala. Product was fantastic product. We have this, like Bore Industries, vinyl flooring was there. We have this, we brought this Luxaplex, what is the beautiful product, the Venetian blinds those days. And it's an imported product, 100-class product. Then we had Spartak, we brought Spartak ceramic tiles, we brought first time in Cochin and Calicut brought it. So all the products were fantastic, but then we are not getting the volume what we wanted. So that was a major issue we've been facing it. Whatever you do, all Kerala basis we had the product was there. And see, hardly the turnover was hardly 20-25 lakhs a month. Maximum 2 crores, 3 crores, that's all. Whereas our counterpart in Chennai or in Bangalore, one product they were doing 2-3 crores. So that was the difference you talk about it. And we had to walk, go all over the state, Kerala. From Kasaragod to Trivandrum, this what you get was hardly 25 lakhs, 35 lakhs. Then we thought, no, we have to do something different. So then we started together. We had that, and we had studied then back in, we went back to our college days. They taught us the game of, the brainstorming. Okay, fine. We thought we'll sit for a brainstorming. We threw, all the partners said, for 1 day, 2 days, we've been discussing with hundreds of options we discussed. Finally thought, no, what can you do? In Kerala, sitting here, what can you do? It was endless, almost endless. Then finally we thought, yes, there is a gap. We find this whole gap there. We thought, yes, there's a gap is that we can maybe we can try on that. There's a vacuum. Vacuum is there. One product with maybe in Kerala is with in sitting in Kerala, maybe maybe you can do something for the Kerala also. That's what we thought. Then we thought, yes, there is a demand. There is a vacuum. There is an opportunity there for a housing, a good housing for NRI market. Though this what happens is, you see, locals, those days, the average age of a local owning a house was 50, 55, 60. Normally they couldn't afford a house unless the employed people, they got retired, they get the benefit only from their PF and the gratuity when they put up a small house. Maybe of course, business people, those who can afford, they only could afford a good home those kind of days. And that too, business people also, they couldn't afford to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 lakhs in 1 or 2 years. Normally they buy land, then a couple of years later, they put up their foundation, then another 3 or 4 years later, they put up their structure. So that was the arrangement. So money was not available there. The only way to maybe the established business was, we know there's a market is only in NRIs. The NRI, what happens, that late 60s and late 70s, Kerala, that's the time exodus started from Kerala in search of their opportunity. They started. First, they started to go into US and Europe. That was in late 60s and 70s they started. Then I would say the early 80s, people started going to, Gulf countries, Middle East. So that was the place where people have been thronging, I would say that. Then there also the major intention, the first point of their dream was, the dream was that they want to make money. The first they make money, they want a beautiful home back home. So that was the intention. You make money, then the first thing they wanted was to construct a home back home. So that's what's happening now. They started making money. Then initially what was happening was they started, they couldn't. See what has happened, they entrusted the task of constructing house to their uncles, maybe in-laws and father-in-laws and nephews. But it was a long-term process. Because what has happened, these people didn't have any expertise in construction. And that also, they have been spending money after money and nothing was happening there. And most of the case, it was a simple Malayali, that movie is there, Panidira the word. That was a situation at that point of time. So people are frustrated at that time. So they said, yes. Maybe I thought that we thought there is a potential is there. That's why we thought, yeah, we should target this segment first to start with. That's why we thought that we'll enter into this business. Then yes, to start with, we searched for our land. A first project and Cochin started in Gandhinagar, ground plus 3, 27 apartments, and yes, we didn't have money also to buy land. So we just been talking around, we found that Mr. C. George of Geotech, he had some 50 cents of land. We approached him. So, okay, he said, fine, I would like to buy your land. Okay, fine, okay. What is the price? He said, 30,000, 40,000 cents, around 12 lakh rupees. So, okay, so what are the terms? What is the money you are going to give? I said, sir, we don't have money, we'll give 50,000. 50,000? Yes, sir, 50,000 advance. Okay, 50,000 advance. So now you're going to make the balance payment in 3 months? No. We said no. Then we want 1 year time. 1 year to make the balance payment, you're making 50,000, you'll make the balance in 1 year time? He said, no, nothing doing. I said, no, sir, this is it. We'll do one thing. We'll give 50,000. 6 months later, we have 20%. Another 20% after 9 months and 12 months. He looked us for 2 minutes. I don't know why. Just then I don't know, the end he said, yeah, okay, I'll give the land to you. I didn't know what made him to make a decision like that. In fact, later on, after 1 year later, I asked him, sir, those days when I came there, I don't know, why the reason you gave the land to us. He said, Aziz, I thought you are straightforward people. I thought, I thought you are Maryadakara. That's the only thing that you were Maryada. So that's the reason is that we decided to give the land to you. Started gentleman, and yes, it was the first project, and of course initially we got some local friends where the circle we could get, some family circle we got over 6 to 8 booking, then from there and balance of course does not take us here, and we went to Middle East. So focused on Middle East, and that was our market, and we went there. From there we started marketing. So we focused initially, you won't believe it, next 10 years our market was only NRIs. 95%, it used to be 95% NRIs. That was the market, and we knew that is what the market is there. Because there's no, locally people couldn't afford 10 lakh rupees because what happens, our construction period is 30 months. You go to make the payment in 30 months. Who could give 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs in 30 months? Not very many people could afford. And not only the locals also, they said, no, it's an apartment, oh, not for us. It is for neo-riches. No, there's a small ordinary people, not apartment, no. We want a villa only. And there was huge debate going on in the press, and in fact, columns and columns of articles were written on the apartment commonly. They said, no, Kerala, no, we don't want apartment. This is not good for apartment. Culture is not good for Kerala. No, we don't. We want, Malayali wants a villa, and he wants his, what he call, Tulsi Tara, and backyard vegetable garden. No, we'll never go for. And also, yes, the elders, especially the aristocrats, elders, they say, no, it's not for us, not me or my family or my children. This is for the ordinary people, maybe just neo-riches, maybe just youngsters, maybe some Gulf guys who make some extra money, they won't. That thought, and nobody came forward. That was the scenario then. So only way was to focus on the international market. And yes, we established a market in 92. We went and started an office in Dubai. And from there we started our operations. And you won't believe it. See, who is our client? Unfortunately in Kerala, see what happens is our only Keralites will buy. Who will buy in Kerala an apartment or villa? It's only Keralites buy. No Tamil, no Karnataka or Maharashtra, Goa, nobody is going to buy and come settle down here. Whereas in Bangalore or Chennai, mind you, Bangalore, any Indian will buy. That was the market difference, you say. Bangalore is a market where in any Indian buy. Whereas, in fact, you won't believe it, even today, 20 to 25% of the housing market is owned by the Keralites, mostly NRIs. They do buy in Bangalore, whereas here in Kerala, only Malus buy. So that was a major challenge for us. Then go for the market. Local, it's almost nothing is there. Okay, Gulf event. Then how do you make it? I want to make it large, like Saif Ali Khan says, we want to make it large. How do you do it? There's a major problem for us. Then we said, no, fine, okay. We'll go to the market where Malayali is there. And we went all around the Middle East. I used to travel 3 months, minimum 3 months, back to back, 3 months in a year. For 12 years, I did it. And yes, I'll go to Middle East for a couple of months. Then we started going and filtering all countries. You won't believe it's 42 countries. Today we got Malayali clients for 42 countries. We went to Europe, we went to Africa, we went to Switzerland, we went to US. And even go to South Africa, and you believe one place, and you even go to one place where a city called Umtata. You know where is Umtata? I went to Umtata, that's in South Africa, where only 200, I would say that 200 teachers, Malayali teachers were there. So that was a market, very minuscule market. We had to really attack that market. It was one-to-one meeting. Won't believe it. Not that we are sitting advertising and getting. No. You had to go and meet and personally go and meet them. That was the market. You have to convince because the product, you know that I don't have a product to show. My product basically is a concept. And I don't have a product. I'm going to deliver after 3 years. When you go to the market to buy an apartment, a car, 800, 800, you can see it, feel it, and you can feel the feel, you experience it, then only you can make a sale there. Where in our case, no product is worth it. Just take some paper, some brochure you take it, you're telling this costs 30 lakh, this 25 lakh, 14 lakh, people don't know what is it. So you have to, that's very important that you have to create a trust in the company. Trust, that was most important, that people have to trust you. So that we right in the beginning we decided, one thing we decided that, yes, Malayali wants good home and is prepared to pay cash. That was my, I would say that the plus point I even today that they do pay for a good quality home. Say, yes, quality has to be good and then that is number one. Number two, then trust, your money has to be safe. Because you are paying upfront 100%. You're getting, the product is you're getting after 2.5 years. You don't know what is happening with your money. So that's very, very critical that you have to convince them, yes, your money is safe with us. That is, trust is one another most important part. Number 3, that you deliver on time. So that was what was the major 3 things that we took into account when we formulated our policy for this.
We have time.
Okay, another 5 minutes? Okay, so this is, okay, now I will just conclude it. Yes, then we from there we went on. Of course, we expanded, no doubt on that. We expanded. Then of course, 5 years later, the local service started. They, after seeing this product is coming in, they know the facility, these are the best facilities. And also maybe people started thinking that, yes, oh, it is not bad. After all, the apartment is not bad. Culture is not bad. You can store this, is safe. And a lot of facilities are there, no hassles also. They're local, then locals started coming and started buying it. So it was, I would say that it was very difficult in the beginning to convince the people. So that was the most important part. Number 2, that make them believe that yes, we are going to deliver a first class product and that your money is safe with us. So that is what is the challenge what we face. And eventually, yes, we could do it. And today, yes, as yes, we got Malayalis, only Malayalis, mostly Malayalis, maybe 1 or 2, hardly any percentage of outside Malayalis. And yes, we operate in 8 cities, and we got 25,000 people and sheltered, and 126 projects, and more than 110,000 outside.
That's great, sir.
Come,
sit.
Thank you.
See, entrepreneurial magic, business magic happens. You know, when Mr. P.H. Kurian metamorphoses, S.R. Nair happens. Have you seen? And that's what actually had happened. Mr. Kurian had to leave immediately, and I was sitting there, and he called me in and he gave me the chair and went away. Actually, he was speaking from the heart. I didn't have the mind to tell him time, but then I think we are running short of time. It is from the heart. Congratulations, being a pioneer. It has come out. I think he needs a round of applause. He really deserves a round of applause. And customary, we'll take 2 questions, one for Nandakumar and one for Mr. Assis from the audience, and we'll wind it up after that. Is there a question? Okay, so I'm sure you're not tired, but then you're, yes, James, shoot your question. I need to get some mic out there, please. Brevity is the content.
The question is for Nandakumar. After you won the first contract, where you took in a time off from Keltron, and then when you were going to win the 330 circles across India, hiring and scaling, can you walk us through what kind of decisions you took and how much time you took to cover all of India?
That's a very good. Good question. So what really happened at that point of time was these contracts were, once the software was standardized by DOT, there was only DOT at that time. It was actually standardized by TEAS, it's an agency called Telecom Engineering Center. They are the one who standardized this. The contracts were awarded, taken by hardware vendors, like even HCL and all the hardware vendors takes this contract and they subcontract the deployment of the software to us. That was the kind of model, or sometimes they will implement by themselves. We didn't have any right because software was developed for DOT, so we didn't have any right on the software. So, one of the success factor for us when we competed with the other competition was we developed the software in a very, very productized manner. So we could take the CD and go and deploy in any place in a very short time frame. So every site we win, we were hiring people. It's not that I've been hiring 100%. Right from the year 1, I've been cash positive. Because I never hired, and also there was a rule, if I'm hiring one person, there should be 12 months salary in the bank. So one of the conservative model, it's one of the reasons which we even today follow, is that we always keep cash in the bank all the time for any expansion. So the growth model was always been, whenever we win the contract, we hire and we take the people and hire. And also hiring was done only to a certain level of competency which is required for that. We don't go for hiring engineers all that time because that was not required. We used to have bright and diploma holders and people like that and train them up. So those days where you can hire people and just leave. So we were hiring people who value the employment much higher than the which they would get otherwise. So that helped us in growing. To be very frank, there are different phases of our company because the first 6 years was only business in India. Then we were going all out to international market, competing with them. So then we needed a different kind of organization. Actually, I formed another organization, which we were hiring at a different level of competency, very high-end competency, because being a product vendor, one of the fundamental problems for you is you should be knowing better than the customer what they need. Because you got to be going there and advising them what kind of capability they would be requiring. So that level of competency is required. Yeah. So that was one of the fundamental reasons. So we were hiring in that form.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Sir, can I have one more?
Yeah. Is there a question?
Yes. Good
Is it to
afternoon.
Mr. Aziz? Rini?
Yes, me.
Okay.
it's me. My question is, excuse me, when you are a newcomer in the market, like Mr. Aziz, you were very honorable and Maryadakaranaittu thondi. But how do you earn the trust?
Does he look anything otherwise now?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shoot. What was the question?
The question is, what else would you do to earn the trust?
How did you earn the trust?
As I said earlier, see, myself was going and meeting the clients. That's one thing most important. That you are there. That's most important that you, the entrepreneur, the guy who run the show is there. That's one most important confidence factor. Number two is that whatever money was coming in, we are spending on the project, not spending on in a no tendency that you have more money, advance, more money come. You think that your money elsewhere you started using for something else. Maybe you started buying a BMW and new car, new generation car. You didn't do that. In fact, whatever money were collected, we have been spending on the project, and we every month used to send project reports with the photograph. We used to send it. So people are convinced. Yes, they are convinced. Yes, my money is being spent on the projects. So that way, over a period of time, that we could convince. Yes, we are not misusing your fund. Your money is being spent on your project alone. So nothing to worry, and that trust was there. That was slowly we could create a trust. And also, yes, most important thing is the delivery. Unless you deliver on time, people don't trust you anymore. So that we could, this is the most important factor in the business. What matters is because spending around 30, 40, 50 lakhs, they're spending, and if you don't get your product on time, people lose heavily. So we knew that is one of the important factors. You meditate upon that we have to deliver on time. That's why we coined an ad campaign that's we deliver every time. That's the thing. Okay. On time delivery every time. That's the thing.
Thank you.
One time. So I think it's time. I would, before I wind up, I'm not doing any concluding remarks, and I'm also not qualified because I walked in as a passerby. At the same time, I'd like to hand over a memento. I request our past president and charter member, Mr. Shivdas Menon, to come over and hand over a memento to Mr. Abdul Aziz. And for a wonderful story which has come from the heart, I didn't have the mind to stop him, but only for the time. And we would listen to him again, please.
Congratulations. Okay, I hope you have enough food to eat now.
Oh yeah, he has both bread, butter and jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And don't go away, sir. Please stay. The next memento goes to our global man, 58 countries, Nandakumar. Yeah, this meeting here concludes, and we'll have the next session. Thank you very much. Shruti, all yours. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.